guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Lauren. I'm so glad that you're joining me in this conversation today. I am going to be going over part 2 of our journey into becoming foster parents. In part 1, if you haven't seen that, I recommend you go watch it. But I talk more about like the passion behind us becoming foster parents and like the leading factors up to us saying yes. And I ended that video talking about the vision I had when I walked past the extra bedroom. Right after that vision, I had to get in my car to drive to a meeting. I help with the social media at my church, and I was just thinking on the drive, where do I even start? And so that's what I'm going to share with you too, the starting point of becoming a foster parent. What's your first step? So I want to show you this little part of the story too, because I think it's really cool and it goes with this. So I didn't have any idea where to start, and I walk into my meeting and the guy I work with starts talking about this adoption and foster care convention that's coming up like that Friday night. Like out of the blue, right after I had that vision, right after I hear God say, yes, it's time to become a foster parent, there's a convention. So I was really nervous and excited. I talked to my husband about it when I got home, and I decided to go to it. At this convention, I learned that you need to find an agency first, and at this convention they had a bunch of foster and adoption agencies there with like their booths set up. So I just walked booth to booth and I took their info and left my card and everything, and I got to this one booth and I could just tell this was the agency I was supposed to be with. I felt it in my gut. My gut doesn't really steer me wrong so far, and I could just feel it was them. So I took their card and I didn't even talk to any more agencies after that. Honestly, I knew who I wanted to go with. But your first step is to find an agency, and you can find that even if you're not at a convention for it. Simply just Googling foster care agencies and then put in your county, a list will come up. Or you could always just like message a foster parent and ask them for help. They're more than willing to help, I'm sure. I know I am. If you ever want to like leave a comment down below or like send me a message on my Instagram, which is Lauren_Abigail97, and I'd be glad to help you find one in your county as well and answer any more questions you have. But yeah, first step, find an agency. That convention was Friday night, so I called Monday morning to the agency I decided I wanted to go with, and I just told them, like, I've never done this before, obviously, but I'm trying to become a foster parent. I talked to you at a convention, or you could say I found you on Google, whatever, and what's my next step? They'll take you through. You don't have to know everything at all. Obviously, this is a brand new process for you. So she just said, well, our next step would be a home study, which basically is when they come into your home, a worker from your agency, and they just check your home and make sure it's appropriate for you to have foster kids and just to meet you and just kind of get that first layer set, if that makes sense, in the journey of all of this. The first step is find an agency. Second step is set up a home study with them, and they will probably ask me, like, do you have other agencies that you're going to be having coming over? Do you know for sure you want us? So you can meet more than one agency if you want to, or if you meet with them and you're just not clicking, it's okay to find a different agency. But we set ours up for the next week, and she came over and it was an instant click. Like, we could not be happier with our agency. They are absolutely phenomenal. And I will be also doing a video on like how to prepare for your first home study, and it's not as scary as it seems. Like, obviously you want to have a clean house, you want to look presentable. They'll ask you a lot of questions. They do ask a lot of personal questions, but they have to get to know you in 3 house visits, so it gets personal pretty quick, which is understandable. So at our first home study, she just came in, we introduced ourselves, we sat down at our kitchen table to do a heck of a lot of paperwork. I mean, there is so much paperwork. You're gonna want to go slow with it, like you're gonna want to, but don't like just plow through it. It's totally worth just getting done in like one quick, like ripping a band-aid off, just get done that fast. So yeah, we got a bunch of paperwork done. It took like an hour and a half, 2 hours to go over everything. It's a lot of like signing, it's a lot of them just asking you random questions. And then after that, she walked around our house and she checked to make sure that our house is like acceptable, that we have enough bedrooms for the amount of kids we want to have, and just everything like that. I'll explain more of that in my home study video though. and then she gave us homework. So our homework was we had to turn down our water heater because they'll test the water temperature and they get there, and if it's too hot you just turn it down. And then we had to get like outlet covers and like cupboard locks for where our medicine or cleaning supplies are, since we're doing 3 and younger. So those were like 2 simple house fixes we had to do. And then we had to get fingerprinted at the UPS store, which they set up and pay for and send you the paperwork with for the fingerprinter to sign, set up a doctor's appointment for you and your spouse, and if you have kids already, maybe kids, I'm not sure, just to make sure that you're healthy, that you're not basically dying. They just want to make sure that you're healthy enough to care for kids. So like it sounds like a lot, but it's all like really quick, easy fixes and just things to do. Just stay focused is my main advice through all of this, is to stay focused. Don't put anything off, just get it done. They also will give you, at least ours did, a big pamphlet with very, very, very personal questions. Like, they'll just ask everything about your childhood, about past relationships, about you now, about hobbies. Like, it'll get into detail, and if you have any abuse in your past, I would just say fill that out next to someone you feel safe with, because it can be triggering if you have to talk about past abuse and stuff like that. So that's my advice for that. You'll give that pamphlet and like your fingerprint papers and all that to your social worker or agency worker at your next house visit. And I forgot to mention this, but at the end of your first house visit, set up your second house visit, because it's easy to get lost in their schedules. They're busy people, so just set it up right away. We had ours a week and a half after our first house visit, and they don't expect you to have all the homework done. Like, me and Elijah had everything done except our doctor's appointments, and like she was like so happily surprised and shocked. She said it takes some people 2 months to do what we did in like that week and a half. So yeah, like just plow through, it's worth it. I know I keep saying that, but like seriously, that's my advice, is plow through it. So now we're at the second house visit. The first was find an agency, set up your home study, do your homework. Now it's time for the second home visit. The second home visit, you'll finish any paperwork. Like I said, you'll hand over the papers that you have signed, and then they'll measure. They might do this at the first house visit, but for us, they did it at the second. They measured all the bedrooms. I don't think they measured the living room at all, but they measured the bedrooms to see how many kids we could have in each room if we wanted to have like more than 1 or 2, which is totally up to you. And yeah, it was very chill. And then they also set up the Pride classes, at least for our agency or in our state, they're called Pride classes, and it's just classes that you have to go to become foster parents. We had 3 and we've done 2 out of 3. Our last one is this Saturday. Quick side note, if you hear noise, it's because they're putting in a deck outside. We like rent a house, or our landlords are putting in a deck, and then they're also like building a sidewalk and all this stuff, so it's a little loud right now. But okay, so Pride classes in our state, we have 3, and I absolutely love the classes. You learn so much. It gives you such a different perspective. You go over like how to deal with kids with trauma. You watch some videos. You have a lot of really, really good discussions, and it just gives you a completely new perspective on foster care, like a way better one, and it just like lights that fire of passion you have. After your Pride classes, after you're done with all your homework, you have your last house visit, which ours is in like 2 weeks from today, actually, I think. And at that time, they'll go over any equipment you have. Like if you're taking in infants, like we have to show the crib we have to make sure it's up to like the regulation, and they'll tell you what regulations and standards it has to be up to. The car seat, and they'll check to make sure you have the outlet covers, and this is all for like infants. And then if you have older kids, like they'll tell you what you need to know and what you need to have before the third house visit. Like they want you to succeed in this, they're not trying to blindside you at all. So they'll go over all of that, finish any like paperwork, and then you go over what ages and everything you're willing to take. So they'll ask you like what ages you're willing to take, what religion background you're okay with taking. Like they'll ask if you're okay if you're taking a kid who's a Christian or a Jewish or Muslim or whatever, and then like disabilities or like behavior disorders you're willing to take, and all that. We'll just like work through it all. We haven't done this yet, so I'll do like an updated like what to expect on your last house visit video, but this is like what I've heard. And then yeah, they just need to set in stone what you're willing to take, so that when they get a call saying, you know, we have a 6-year-old girl who is has ADHD, like they can go through their families and their agency and see like, okay, these are the families that are willing to take a kid with this age, gender, religion, whatever. So yeah, after you pick all that you need to pick about ages and everything like that, and then you make sure that you're up to standard with like the beds and everything you need, finish the paperwork on your third home visit, then you're set, and they'll send in the paperwork to the Capitol and you'll get approved, and then you're a foster parent. I guess like I said, after my third house visit, I'll make another updated video when I have more knowledge of what that whole process is like. But yeah, then you're done. So it's not that much. It sounds like a lot. It's really not when you're in it. Now I'm going to answer some questions, because like last week I put on my Instagram, ask any questions you have on foster care, and I answered a bunch through this already, but I'm gonna answer some ones that haven't been answered yet. And one of them was, do they like check your finances and everything like that to see if you can afford being a foster parent? And they do, but it's not that scary at all. They'll ask for a few pay stubs. Like I'm a photographer, so I don't have pay stubs like that really, but like they were really chill with everything. Basically, like if you're not going hungry, you're gonna pass. Like obviously you want to be able, oh my gosh, there's a moth. I hate moths. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna like not look at it. But they want to make sure that the kids are comfortable here, just like you would, but I mean, they're not like that concerned if you're rolling in the dough, obviously. Their priority is more if you're a safe parent, if you're gonna love on them, if you're gonna be what they need, is way more important than if they have a huge luxurious bedroom or something, you know what I mean? Another question was, do you have a choice to say no if they call with a kid that's older or something than you said you're willing to take? And you always can say no, even if it's in your age range, even if it all matches. If it's just not a good time for you, you can say no. So yeah, if they call and say we're taking 3 and younger and they have a 10-year-old, first of all, they're not going to call and say that, but if they were to, they're not going to just come drop the kid off. You can say, you know what, no, I'm sorry, like that's out of our age group, we're not able to do that. And they have other families they could call. And even if they call like with someone 3 and younger, child 3 and younger, say like I was about to go out of town that night to go have shoot a wedding or something, I can say no, or you can even like work it out where another family has that kid for the 2 days you're gone, and when you get home then you can take them. So they're very flexible and non-judgmental, obviously, and so you can definitely say no when you need to. And then the last question is, are we trying to adopt through foster care? And absolutely not, because that will destroy you so badly if you go to each placement thinking, what if I adopt this baby? You know what I mean? Like you already get attached. You don't need to put that on yourself too, thinking maybe I'll adopt this one. Oh, maybe I'll adopt this one. Maybe, because that's just gonna hurt so bad each time you have to give that child or baby back. You do end up adopting through foster care quite a lot, so that's the hard thing, is it happens a lot. So you have to keep that perspective of not thinking it's going to happen till it happens. And also, you want the parents of these kids to succeed. If you adopt, that means that they weren't able to get to the place that they needed to, and they weren't able to get to that place they needed to for their kids, which in the long run, you want their kids to have their parents. And really quick, I want to add, you don't have to adopt if you don't want to. Don't be like, oh no, like we want to do foster care, but we really don't want to adopt. You can totally do foster care, and if that kid comes up for adoption, you can help, find a family that is looking to adopt. There's a lot of families that do want to adopt, so you don't feel like you have that burden if you are a foster parent. So I think that was the majority of the questions. If I missed any, please let me know. Thank you for watching this whole video if you're still at this point. So, quick rundown, I have it down on my paper. First thing, find an agency. Second thing, set up first home visit or home study. I say both. Third, finish your homework. Second, you do your next house visit. Second house visit. Then you have your pride classes. Then you have your last house visit. It's totally manageable. You can totally do it. If you are interested at all, if you're even watching this video, I say look into it, pray about it. Talk to other foster parents. I don't have any placements yet, but seriously, ask me any questions. And yeah, thank you for watching and have a great day.